E to the L to the U to the X to the E to the top. Smacking.
Why hello there guys, QwertyAfro here with another video. It has been a while, I'm not gonna lie, it has been so long since I've done a video, and I do apologise, but I do have a good reason. It's been a hectic, and I mean a hectic couple of months with university work and whatnot, like having to do my dissertation module, which involved a very big long scientific report to write on a mapping area that I did over the summer, which I did a few vlogs for back in June, July on the QWERTY ARL channel. But I'm back, and guess what is finally here. Like, it just totally swept by me. I didn't even think about it until I realized when I was in Tenerife. These whole last few months have just been so hectic with the report, and then as soon as I had to give in my report, I then had to go to Tenerife for a week to do volcanology, which was really good, really exciting place. I absolutely enjoyed it. It was a fantastic location, fantastic landscape, geology and whatnot, and I do have some footage from it as well, so I'll edit that up to kind of put into a vlog at some point on the QWERTY ARL channel. But got back and I realized, oh hey, Train Sim World CSX Heavy Haul beta is here, and it's here finally. It's like I literally because my mind's just not been in YouTube for so long, and I just haven't been doing videos at all for so long that it just it's so it's refreshing to come back to it and then have Train Sim World, the Unreal Engine 4 train simulator we've been waiting for, finally now here with the beta, with the CSX Heavy Haul and the Sand Patch American route. A little bit upset that it wasn't a since they announced it. I remember with my reaction video, the only thing I just wasn't happy with is that it was an American route that they were doing first, but I don't mind too much about that. It's probably my one of my biggest negatives, if I had to say so far, for this beta, is that it's on an American route with an American loco. But the American loco is fantastic, and I have been enjoying it, of all the kind of gameplay and stuff that I have been doing of it, and it's been really interesting, and I'm very curious to see where they go with this game, because it definitely has potential, and it's definitely very much a step forward in the train sim genre from the current version of Train Simulator, which you guys already know my opinions about and whatnot. I've voiced them countless times over the years throughout my train sim content and whatnot. So this is a really landmark step, as I could basically say, for train simulation, and I'm very excited to see where it goes and where it leads, and hopefully it'll be really good, because obviously things like multiplayer have been confirmed for this game, so I'm very excited. But I've played already a bit of the of this Train Sim World beta, and I've done the tutorials. I think I've run through one of the scenarios, but I'm going to be doing the scenarios for you as the videos, and it's good. I'm impressed, and I have some concerns as well. Obviously, it's a beta; it's not the full kind of release kind of thing, and there's things like optimization, which I think is one of the biggest things right now that I'm finding is quite annoying. Even normally, say when I record a video, the games do tank a little bit, because obviously recording takes processing power. But even when I'm not recording and when I'm playing this game, there are some issues with FPS and stability. And the thing is, I have a decent rig, I would think, not an ultra best rig, but above par. I have a 970 and a good i5 processor, and it should be able to run this, and also 16 gigabytes of RAM, so it has enough tools to run this game perfectly. But obviously the optimization's not there. A game like Fernbus runs a lot better on my system, and it's in Unreal Engine 4 as well. This is Unreal Engine 4 as well, so obviously optimization does need a bit of work before the general release, but that's something I hopefully will get kind of tuned and fixed up, because that's the kind of major kind of thing I've been, and the thing that's most upsetting me so far are playing this and kind of recording it and testing out things in it. You can tell that the menu and style, this is the kind of menu you get, well, once you load it into the beta for the first time, it'll like, oh yeah, make a profile, and it'll run you down and bring you to the yard and show you the locomotive and whatnot, and be very kind of like a tutorial like kind of thing. But the menu itself, very reminiscent of, you know, Eurofishing, another game by Dovetail Games. And it's that kind of nice, fresh kind of menu, which I like. It's nice. It's much better than the current train sim kind of menu, which I just hate. And it's you know, so far with this one, I like it. It's very fresh. It's very nice to be in the kind of game, and it's very nice. I like it. Like another thing that you can do is if you go into services here, you can pick like. You can do spawn walking, which we'll do maybe eventually. I think for now, in terms of videos, if I actually go back quickly, in terms of videos, I'm going to do today the Sand Patch Summit scenario, and then I'm going to do the clear cut in another video, and those will be like 2 videos of my coverage of Train Simulator World. But if you guys want me to do some more, like I don't know if you want me to do like a video on spawn walking, and then maybe a video on like just using the loco on like a custom part, and you know, messing around with the weather, just let me know in the comments down below. What's cool is that, like, when you select this, is that it comes up in real time, and you can see the locomotive, you can hear it, which is really cool. And even if you continue, you can change the weather. So right now we're on sunny morning. You can go to rainy afternoon. You can go to summer evening, a winter morning, a snowstorm, which is pretty cool, and winter fog, which is really, really, really nice. So the weather looks really good. It's got to look good. It's Unreal Engine 4. Anything in Unreal Engine 4 is pretty. It's very pretty and very gorgeous. Like things like Rocket League are made in Unreal Engine 4. Fernbus, and then I don't really know. I haven't researched too much of what's made in Unreal Engine 4. I just know those 2 games are, but they're generally pretty. It's really, really nice. So if we go back. That's something we might do if you guys want me to do it, but for now we're just going to stick with the scenarios. The shoutouts, by the way, in this video go to Boring Apple and stripydoggydoo. That's again Boring Apple and stripydoggydoo. Their links and stuff will be down below. Do show them some love. Their links will be down below. Right, so let's have a look at the Sand Patch Summit. As I said, I already did the tutorials. They were pretty, you know, just, you know, tutorial-like. You know, they show you, highlight everything that you need to know, and they do it in steps, like how to accelerate the train, how to brake the train, how to couple the train with carriages, how to do like switching and shunting and stuff like that, which was cool. And I guess that's kind of appeal with American freights. It's all about kind of like shunting carriages and stuff in the yard, and then, you know, taking them down these kind of long routes and stuff like that. And that's cool, but not really the kind of thing that appeals to me. Like, freight's never been a massive thing. I can barely just you know, do UK freight, which I don't like. It's better than America. Like, well, I don't know. This is this is a bit of controversy. Well, but obviously American freight is probably much better. Like, you have like huge trains, huge locomotives. They pull mile-long trains and whatnot. And in the UK, you just have a pathetic 100-meter long, you know, cargo freight train. You know, so American freight probably does trump over. No pun intended. It does trump over like UK freight. But I do prefer UK freight, like into drive and stuff like that on the UK kind of lines and stuff. But you know, it's like freight's just not my kind of cup of tea in terms of train simulation. So, you know, but I you know, I'll accept it and I'll give it a go. And, you know, it's fun. And in terms of this game, like when you couple things, it's really like it's really the physics in this game are so much better than the current gen train sim. Like, things are done like when you couple the trains and whatnot, they just couple nicely, and things move and shuffle and wobble, and it's it feels definitely more alive. Like, you know, the physics are more alive in this game. Anyway, Sand Patch Summit. This is the kind of route. As you can see here, this is how big of it. I think the whole route in the whole is like 60 miles long, but we only have like these 2 playable sections, if I'm right. I'm not too sure. I don't know if you can play like on the whole route. I've not seen how you do that. Maybe you can, I'm not too sure, but there's only these 2 parts that you can then play on it, and obviously in the full release it'll probably be all playable, but for now I feel it's only just these 2 parts, or maybe you can play on the whole thing, but just maybe you have to do that in custom. We'll see. Maybe another video we'll have a little play around with that. Anyway, so this is this part. This is the summer area that we're going to be playing, and then the clear-cut one I do believe is down here, where it's more to do with switching and stuff like that, which will be fun to do in the next video. So the description for this one is: climb aboard, take control of the train from Mayersdale over Sandpatch Summit on an onward to Mainz. However you pronounce that. It's American, I should be able to pronounce it, but you know me and my pronunciations, it just never works. Can't customize anything so far with like these kind of things. Hopefully in the future when we get to see what we can do with scenarios and customize time, weather and stuff like that, that'll be very, very cool. But let us begin. Let us get into this. We start off with a really cool, nice cinematic kind of start where the train comes in, and it's all good, and I'm excited. You know, are you guys excited? I mean, you guys have probably already seen content of this already, so I'm just redoing stuff. I'm just throwing in my little 2 cents in there and just giving you my kind of view of things through this kind of through this beta. So you guys have probably seen this all already, so you know. But you know, it's nice. The game looks good. The graphics look very appealing. Look at that sunset, or sunrise. No, sunset. It's probably sunset. But here come our locos, the SD40-2. 2 of them as well, which is pretty cool. Nice railroad crossing there. But just look at the lighting and the shadow work and stuff on this, and the foliage and just everything just looks so much more better. The reflections on the trains as well is just really nice, and even on the carriages, the freight carriages. But anyway, here we are. First person mode, where we can actually look around and walk once the train stops. Look at that. Sort of train. It's pulling in. Now just imagine, because obviously this game's going to have multiplayer. Imagine in multiplayer, like that's someone driving the train, and they've obviously ended their shift here, and they would climb aboard, and you would climb aboard and, you know, take the train over, or they could join you and, you know, continue the shift with you, which is really, really cool. Hey there, are you the new recruit I've been told to look out for? Climb aboard and join me in the cab. We will do that in a sec. I do want to, however, walk around, because that's one thing you can do. You can walk around. Okay, you can't go down there, but because there's an invisible wall, but you can walk. Can I walk this way? No, I can't walk on this path. There's another person, a worker. You can see here how much I can like walk, and I don't think I can go into this town. No, I can't. But there are like spawn walking places where you can walk around and explore much more than like what here you can, which seems you can't go into town, which is a bit of a shame. But you know, it's not a town simulator, it's a train simulator at the end of the day. But it's nice that I can, you know, walk around here on the side of the train. Look at this detail though. Look at that detail. You see this fuel tank? One thing that you can do in this game, if I find it here, look at that. You can fill up the train with fuel in the, obviously in the yard. That's tied that back up, which I think is just, that's pretty cool. You can fuel the train. Obviously with electric trains it'll be a little bit less exciting, but you know. But look at this. It's beautiful. Oh, and look at that sun. That is gorgeous. That is absolutely gorgeous. I kind of want to... Actually, let's go to the settings here, because I want to put the screen quality thing up to high. If I actually go into the controls here, what are the controls for keyboard controls? What's the screenshot? Is it just F12 as normal? I think it is. I don't know. Take screenshot. Control F12. Yes, of course it is. Nice. Nice. One thing, as I said, well, I don't know if I said it. Actually, no, I did say it. Optimization in this game is a bit iffy. to say the least. It's right here, it's nice. I'm getting, well, it's not the best FPS. It's like 25 FPS, which feels good compared to when it goes below 20 FPS. At 25 FPS is actually manageable, and 30 FPS is actually pretty good, considering I'm recording as well. Right here, it's actually really nice, very smooth. But down the line, once we drive, it gets a bit like choppier with like FPSs reaching like below 15, and then it just gets a little bit, I don't know, gets a little bit awkward. Oh wait, look at that! I want that as a screenshot. There we go. I've taken a screenshot. Award 250 XP. Why, thank you. Anyway, let's have a look around this train before we start driving it. You'll see that the the things that you can like press and you know work are just let me just show you this. So you have a couple of things unlocked here, which this is obviously when you're coupling a train and whatnot. All these wires and stuff like that, once you couple, like move and are simulated, like these kind of like say if I put down this little crossing platform thing, you can see here all this like wobbles and has actual physics, which is really, really nice. And it's just something you're just not used to seeing in Train Simulator, to be honest, like in the current engine. But it's fantastic. Let's get on board. You have a little handbrake wheel thing here to obviously put it, like say right now I could even just put it on because we're stationary, why not? But look at this. Walking on a train, this, we're walking in the train sim world. It's fantastic. I can open the door, come here into my office. Well, we're gonna pass the office. We're gonna go through here and actually walk here alongside the train, because obviously these American trains are huge and basically essentially like have their own like walkways and balconies on it because they're so huge. But what's cool is if you go down here, if I find the cabin I actually have to do it in, I think it's this one, yeah, it's here. You can open the latch and actually open the doors here to actually see the train engine. And obviously when you're doing a cold start, this is fantastic because you have so many switches and stuff in the cab. And one thing, once we get back into the cab, I'll show you, all the switches and stuff are just all simulated. Every button works. It's basically like FSX basically now. Every button works, everything's simulated. It's very nice. So here you have like when you're turning the engine on from a cold start, you have a primer and whatnot to start it. And in here, once it's on, you have a governor where you can crank it up a bit. Or maybe you actually can't. I don't think you can rev it once the handbrake's on. But you know what I'm thinking I'm going to do? I'm going to leave the doors open because why not? I'm supposed to close them, but I'm going to leave them open because it's my world, my train sim world. That was really bad. Anyway, here you can use the crossing platforms to make a little path here where we can go along here, jump to the next carriage, and then you know what? Let's go into the other carriage. Let's go into the other. Let's go into the other cabin here now. Just to show you the amount of simulation in terms of like the buttons actually available to press here. This is the fuse cabinet where you would like sort of like when you're doing it from a cold start, you would actually mess around with these and actually well, not mess around with them, put them in the right position, because if you mess around with them I don't think you'd be able to start the engine. But every single button here is simulated. Look at that. Number lights on rare, engine room lights, you could even put that on if we want to, platform lights. Oh, we have another train coming through. If I go outside, do you see how the sound actually changed once I opened the window? So the audio is really good and it's really well simulated in terms of like, if I now close it, it now muffles it, which is really nice. But then again, as I said, everything is simulated. All buttons so far that I've seen are like, it's everything, everything on the console here is pretty much simulated. You have so much things to click and whatnot, it's just crazy. I'm gonna go down to this one, and open the engine room in this one because why not? I can. And there's the engine room light on that I turned on, so that's simulated. It's fantastic. I don't think I can crank the engine up once it's idle like this, as I said. Anyway, let's leave that on. Let's get back to our cab and actually begin driving in a Train Simulator. Train Simulator World. But do you see already, this feels just like a completely different game, like just what I'm doing right now. Like, I wouldn't have dreamed of doing this in the current one. Just jump along this. Right. What were those platform lights? That's one thing I wanted to actually check. Let's go down here. Where are the platform lights? I don't see any. You can see the engine room light there, which is really nice. Nice little billowing smoke coming out. But anyway, let's continue. You can see the detail here. That just Unreal Engine 4 is just absolutely fantastic. Anyway, let's climb aboard. I know I've spent a long time just walking around, but this is Train Simulator now. You can walk around and do things. It's absolutely fantastic. Right, let's close this door. And let's close this door. Nice. We have a nice muffled cab now to ourselves. Now let's sit in the engineer's seat and let's get going. Oh, one thing I actually have to do is have to turn off the handbrake. It would have been quite awkward there if we actually continued and just went and was like, oh, why are we not going? Oh yeah, because the handbrake's on. Anyway, let's get the reverser forward. Listen out for the engine. It changes its tone as well, which is very cool. Now, obviously, because I think we are on a bit of a hill start. I think we're on a little bit of a hill, a little bit of a gradient, because obviously we're going up to the Sandpatch Summit. We're gonna have to apply a little bit of brake. So I'm gonna add a bit more brake, and then I'm gonna put up to notch 3 and release the brake now. And that's how you do a hill start. Let's get the horn. Good stuff, little two-tone horn there to signal departure. Don't know if that's how the Americans do it. Could switch on our instrument lights. Pretty much all the controls and stuff are very similar and very native to how Train Sim is right now currently, so nothing's going to be too different as well. But as I said, just all of this is simulated. Like, and one thing is, like, similar to FSX, is you have your camera where you move around and you can click things right there, but you can also, I think you can do this in FSX, is you right click and the camera is then stationary, and then you can just, you know, go around with the mouse and do things if you want to, which I think is very, very cool. And it's very, you know, obviously now because we have all this simulated goodness and all these buttons to do, like a thing like this where we can actually just stop and just click things and do things and stuff like that with a mouse is very, very useful. So, very happy with that. Well, tell me guys what you think. I know you guys have already probably seen so many videos of Train Simulator World right now on YouTube, and I know I'm late to the party, but my 2 cents is I'm interested, I'm keen. You know, there's the problems with the optimization. I don't know, like, the sounds and stuff sound good. I don't know if, like, I've read in some places that people think that this doesn't sound like the actual loco, but I don't know. This is something, like, you know, we're gonna have to see once the full games come out and what they do with other kind of locos and stuff like that, of how the kind of sound quality and sound engineering is going to be done on these trains in the Unreal Engine. But, you know, all these kind of things where we can you know, turn knobs, open things, close things, operate things. I'm just so curious to know, like, for the multiplayer sake, like, what in multiplayer we'll be able to do. Because right now I have so many roles to do. Like, I could just go around, do things, switch things and whatnot imagine in a multiplayer where you have like a few friends where you can just, you know, I don't know, would you be able to have a signaller? Would you be able to have a dispatcher? You know, like a shunter around in the yard? You know, maybe like coupling together a full consist of a train, like a freight train or something like that, or even a passenger train for someone to take out then to on a service run and whatnot. You know, the possibilities here are really endless, and I love like just, you know, imagining of what could actually be, you know, an outcome of like the multiplayer once it's released in it. And I don't know if the multiplayer is actually going to be released with the initial release. I don't know if anyone said that is going to be the case. I'm not too sure. I need to look up on that, but obviously this is a beta. This is not going to be the final kind of thing once it's released. I think in like February or March, I think they're aiming to release this whole CSX Heavy Haul route and map with, like, I do believe it's going to have like 4 or 5 locomotives, which is going to be like, if this one's super detailed, if this one's really nicely super detailed and you have so much things to do in it, I can't wait to see all the other kind of locomotives, because every locomotive is different and has different kind of characteristics and, you know, buttons and whatnot. So the full detail on this, and then times that by another 4, it's going to be quite a nice variety of to do. And then imagine once we get to the British stuff, and imagine I'm trying to imagine all the kind of British routes in this engine. I just, like, you know, that's where my mind gets so excited, and I think most people would think that would be the same for them as well. Like, I'm just trying to imagine, like, say, you know, the Brighton main line in Unreal Engine, you know, it just, you know, like a fully modeled and like, you know, simulated, you know, Electrostar 377, which in the current version is pretty dull and boring and just has nothing really much to it. But imagine in this, like, that's what I'm most excited for. Anyway, you can get up while you're driving as well, which I think is great. You see here you have different seats. So, in a way, in multiplayer, you could have your friends here sitting here watching you drive, helping you out with things like maybe if you get to a stop and you have to decouple a few carriages or something. I don't know. You know, like, just for me, like, the possibilities here are rather endless in terms of like what you can do. So you can sit here, you know, have your other mate there driving. I don't think, like, you could wave to them. I don't know. It would be pointless to put a wave animation, but you know what I mean. You can see it. I can see it. You guys can see it. I hope you can imagine it. It's great. So if you go and click into this kind of view where you just have a mouse and you click something, you can then some things have like this option where you can like manually work things, or like with notches and stuff, where I like this kind of interface because it shows you like you can like do things in little increments and whatnot, which I think is very nice. Like if I go back here, sit down, turn on that this thing with the mouse, and if I go now onto, I don't know, throttle, I could obviously move the thing up in increments of the throttle or the brake or whatnot, which is really, really cool. Let's go outside, because we can. Now, one thing I've noticed with the graphics, if you notice right now what's actually in front of me, is you see a bit of ghosting happening. Now, this is a problem that I've seen on most videos, and it has been addressed by like people like Matt Pedalston, where I've watched this video of how to counter this kind of ghosting problem. It's to do with like anti-aliasing and whatnot, and you can turn the anti-alias into another setting where it would basically stop the ghosting on the train, but then the foliage and the surrounding kind of like landscape will become a bit like, will not ghost, but it wouldn't look as crisp as this. So you have to fiddle around with the settings to kind of get the kind of balance where you have no ghosting to kind of no kind of fuzzing and stuff of the actual foliage. But I don't know, I hope this is something they maybe try and fix for the main game and just look to kind of, you know, optimize it better for the actual main game. It would be really cool. But to me right now, this doesn't really bother me too much unless I look at it very, very hard. I love this. Look, we can just step out here, look at the views, interact with some of the controls and stuff, and then we just, you know, we just hop back into our cab, sit back down. Right now my FPS has tanked a little bit. I don't know if it's like certain areas, again, similar to the current version of Train Sim, where certain areas maybe with denser kind of stuff, denser buildings and stuff, just caused like the FPS to go a little bit down, which is a bit upsetting to see that that's still an issue. And I hope, again, optimization, I hope that it becomes much better handled in the full release, where, you know, they optimize it for a broader range of systems, something that the current version of Train Simulator just wasn't even made to be optimized. I just hope they optimize it much better. Right, let's increase a little bit of power. Did I leave the door open? I don't think so. I think I closed it. You can hear the sounds, I think, sound really nice. For what, I've never heard an SD40-2, so I don't know how it sounds. But for me, in the game, it sounds pretty good. Pretty alright. You have your different cameras as well. So this is the number 2 camera, where you basically have a lot more freedom. Instead of just like holding right click and, you know, scrolling around the train, you use your arrow keys and you move around the train this kind of way. And then you don't have to stay here. You can go around and you know, look at the train any angle you want. And what's cool is you can see all the kind of stuff again. Like I've opened, all the engine doors are open. The engine room light in the second locomotive is on. One thing you can see, I don't know if you can catch it, is the locomotive and the carriages are like bobbing up and down and like simulated and, you know, differently, and show like actual physics. While I thought in the current version you didn't really get that much of that. Look at this. Even the carriages sound good, like the flanging and the just you know, it's good. One thing I want to know is if obviously these are filled with coal, and if you like deliver it to like somewhere where the coal is needed to be, can you like deposit the coal there and actually simulate the actual carriages like tipping out coal? Or like when you go to a coal plant where you're going to collect the coal, can you actually fill up your carriages yourself with coal? These are things like that would be really cool to see if they actually, you know, make it in and actually are simulated. And of course we have our free camera. Gotta have our free roam camera. Look at that. Just the sounds of the freight carriages are just really nice. Oh god. Nice. Have another train coming up. And I think this train is hauling the other freight carriage that's available. It's like, I think it's a double-decker car carriage where it carries around cars, which is really cool. There they are. You see they're much taller. I do believe they have cars in them. I'm not too sure. And what's cool is these are fully like simulated as well, so you can open the things and you can open the doors and stuff of this to actually view what's inside them and whatnot. Oh, and we're in the sand patch tunnel now. What do you guys also think about the new HUD? Where it's just like a few like circles and stuff showing you kind of brake pressures, amp meter, and the kind of speed and whatnot. Like, I'm interested to know how you're gonna now be able to tell. Like, I like the HUD where it showed you your signals and the speeds and stuff that you're gonna have to do on the line. So I'm wondering how they're gonna combat that and include that in this modern HUD. Right, go to idle. We shall. There we go. What's cool up here is you can tell, this actually tells you the speed that the train at the back is doing. I'm gonna put on this dynamic brake. Apparently there's two brakes on this locomotive. You have the independent automatic brake. Oh no, you have the independent brake, you have the automatic brake, and then you have the dynamic brake, which I don't know if the dynamic brake works too well because it's what's that? Control operator. Oh, look at all that. Reverse to forward, neutral, reverse forward, dynamic brake off. Oh, okay. Right, we're out the tunnel and we'll basically reach the summit, and now we're dropping down, and this is where we're gonna have to control. And well, I'm using my dynamic brake, but I think I'm gonna probably have to use my automatic brake, because the dynamic brake doesn't really feel like it does anything too much. It's all good so far. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below, like, you know, your first thoughts about Train Sim World. Like, are you excited? I am. I know there's problems and stuff with it, but, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this game and how they make it, like, because already for me it feels much different than Train Simulator, the current gen. So that's already, for me, a good sign. My dynamic brake's all the way up to 6 now, like, literally. But I can kind of see why they went with this route and not like a more complicated route, like say something like the Brighton Main Line in the UK. It's a very simple route. It wouldn't be too much with detail and stuff because it's obviously in the middle of nowhere. It feels like I don't even know where Sandpatch is in America. I have absolutely no clue. Doesn't really interest me. But I can see this is a kind of, I guess, good route as a kind of testing ground for what they want to do, and it's like cool. Like you can see different things. Like you can see what kind of different features and stuff they want to play. Like you can refuel your train at the yard. There's a turntable in the yard that you can like turn locomotives around and whatnot, which is really cool. Like there's quite a lot of stuff and quite a lot of features, and I'm excited for it. I am, and it's great to be back doing videos, and it's great to get back into this. And it was kind of nice, like a nice little treat. For myself now that I've kind of, you know, finished up the semester and then, you know, had a few relaxing days, and then now to, you know, go back to videos, and, you know, I have Train Sim World to, you know, play, which is really nice. But yeah. I think we're now coming up to the marker where Reward earned complete. Completed scenario on 5,000. Got 5,000 XP. Nice. And I think that's the end of the scenario there, guys. Anyway, I hope this is you know, a nice restart for me again, back into videos. Again, really cool to be doing Train Sim World, and you know, I'm excited. Like, you know, we've been waiting for this for so long, and it's great that it's finally here, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with these kind of features and stuff like that. And it's not the most exciting route for me personally, because obviously I'm not really interested in American freight or American trains in general. So on that note, that's my biggest kind of criticism, but it's just a personal criticism. But there are things like optimization that still need to be heavily, I think, worked on, because I have a decent rig, and I don't get why I'm going down to like almost like 10 FPS, which is just, I think, just not good. And I can understand if it's not been optimized yet for systems, but hopefully it shouldn't be a problem after general release. I'm excited to, you know, about the multiplayer, what they're going to do with that in terms of, like, you know, options and stuff like that. Like, you know, it's just crazy to think of how much freedom and, like, you know, things that you can press and do and function. Imagine doing that with multiple people and whatnot, and then, you know, you can change signals, you can change tracks. You know, it's, you know, I'm excited. It's good. I'm you know, for my first video, I'm content, and you know, I might not sound as excited because, you know, I'm still kind of recovering from my whole kind of thing this semester. Like, I'm still like not fully with it back to my normal self, so maybe it'll take a bit of time to get back to my kind of, you know, jolly old self. But I hope you guys enjoyed my first video on Train Sim World CSX Heavy Haul beta. I'll do more. And I'll definitely be like doing, you know, obviously this is, you know, my channel is mainly with Train Sim, so I'll be definitely doing this in the future once it like releases out. And I cannot wait to see what British routes look in this engine, and I can't wait to see what other trains and how like British trains get simulated, like, you know, as I was saying, like an Electro Star in this kind of fidelity and detail. I would love it. You know, it'll be great, and I hope quality control as well with, like, you know, DLC or whatever they're going to be doing in the model for this game. If this is how, if every train is as detailed as this, then sign me up for like most DLCs, like, because then I'll be like, okay, if this is how trains are going to be now from an hour, and every single train is going to have this kind of fidelity, this kind of detail, this kind of simulation, sign me up, because then I can trust that every single DLC is going to be good. And I think that's the problem with the current version of the game, where every DLC kind of is all over the place. Some trains are detailed than others, some are very plain, some are the same price. Like, you have some that are much older that are the same price as newer content and whatnot, and, you know, that kind of issue with the current game. Hopefully this game will eradicate that, and I would definitely, you know, I think, you know, with your own money, with my own money, if I was, you know, now buying DLC again, and I'd definitely be much more confident buying DLC from Doctor Games in this game if I knew every train and every map was going to be this detailed. So, you know, hopefully more to come. I'll definitely do the other scenarios of video as well. Watch out for that, and some more videos as well during this kind of festive period. I don't even feel like it's festive. Like, Christmas for me was like such an afterthought. Like, I just, like, once I like stopped and finally, you know, like completed everything, I was like, oh shit, it's Christmas. But it hasn't registered in my mind. Anyway, the shout outs again for this video go to Boring Apple and stripydoggydoo. That's again Boring Apple and stripydoggydoo. Their links will be down below. Show them some love. I will see you guys in another video. It's good to be back. Take care. Have a lovely day.
We ain't